Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
Quickly, before we jump into the show, I want to let you know that over on my Twitter page, @Brodes81, I am giving away a Bryce Harper jersey. There's a pinned tweet. It explains the rules. All you have to do is follow me and retweet that tweet. I do it every single Wednesday, a hump day giveaway every Wednesday. So stay engaged, stay involved, and make sure you enter to win a Bryce Harper jersey. It's a no-brainer. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. The Philadelphia Phillies get a fucking win to start off the season. Jean Segura was amazing at the end there. Last at-bat. If I was the Atlanta Braves, if I were Snitker of the Atlanta Braves, I should say, I'm intentionally walking Jean Segura too so I can get the Roman Quinn. Because Roman Quinn is a disaster offensively. Because Roman Quinn doesn't know what he's doing. Because Roman Quinn is extremely overwhelmed at the dish. But they elect to pitch to Jean Segura, and he delivers in the big. Now, ultimately, I thought the Philadelphia Phillies were the better team. Aaron Nola made a big mistake in that seventh inning on an 0-2 count to throw a pitch that Pablo murders out of the ballpark. With that type of wind, it was a no-brainer. It was a lock. That thing was long gone, and Aaron Nola made that mistake. Now, this is when the ace or the he's a number one conversation comes up. Difference between an ace and a number one. Would an ace allow for that to happen? I thought Aaron Nola was strong throughout, but I'm going to be honest with you. You had Dansby Swanson come up big. That could have been a home run. When I say come up big, that's totally not the way to describe it. But my point is, he hit a long one that would have been a homer in any other night other than tonight. And same with Freddie Freeman. So the stat sheet afterwards won't tell you the full story, but Aaron Nola would have got murdered out of this ballpark probably 3 times total if it wasn't for the nasty winds and the weather tonight. So something just to keep in mind, but I'm not going to fully 100% just kill Aaron Nola after the performance, considering he went deep. He kept his pitch count low. He was strong for the most part. He was fooling hitters. He was utilizing the off-speed. And in the 6th inning, when the Phillies got into some trouble, Ozuna literally killed one down the third base line. Alec Boehm came up big to have his pitchers back, which you are going to need. The defense performed very well, except for a Rhys Hoskins error in that 6th inning to somewhat allow the Braves to get some sort of spark, to get some sort of hope. But Aaron Nola came up big with a huge punch out on the outside corner. Bang! To get out of that 6 and that nice, beautiful, confident walk back to the dugout afterwards. If you can't tell, I'm hyped up. If you can't tell, I missed Phillies baseball. And it was almost surreal. I'll be honest, it was almost surreal for me. To the point where I was having so much fun watching, I don't know if I was fully digesting it to the right level. It was pure enjoyment. I was so overexcited. I was so happy that I think it crossed the line where I don't even remember watching the game. And as the games continue, I hate how Friday they're off. Give me as much baseball as possible. Don't give me opening day and then make me have to wait for an entire another day to be completed before I get the second game of this Braves series where I can see Zach Wheeler go up against Morton. Don't make me wait that long. But as this season plays out, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in, I'll feel back to normal with baseball. But now it's like I have so many beautiful emotions going through my veins that I don't even know how to operate. Now, I mentioned the matchup for Saturday. The matchup tonight, the 3, 4, 5, 6, like all these hitters were grinding away. When you look at the batting order of the Phils, which I thought was I was intrigued by it. I'll say that. I was intrigued by it before the game started. Didi had a couple of strikeouts involved that I didn't love. And I mentioned Roman Quinn's poor at-bat when he got in there. But I also mentioned the defense. it's ironic that I bring up those two offensively, but let's bring up the fact that in the ninth inning when Hector Neris was on the bump, here's Didi Gregorius catching a ball over his shoulder, which was outrageous. And oh, by the way, in the 10th inning, here comes Roman Quinn in center field. When you see that Adam Hazley's no longer in the game and it seems like there's a groin issue, which, what do you know, all of a sudden we're getting into injury problems at the center field position. Just something to keep an eye out on. But Roman Quinn comes up huge, delivers a throw to JT Realmuto, who makes a play at the plate, and the Phillies get an opportunity in the bottom half of the 10th for them to be able to deliver, and that's exactly what they did. But it's funny how I bring up those two players, yet when you look at what happened defensively in this game, they were studs, and they made big plays in the 9th and 10th inning, which allowed this team to have that opportunity, to have that chance at the end in front of the Phillies faithful, in front of fans in Citizens Bank Park. And woo, was it fun to just hear people, whether it was boo, boo to the refs or the umpires, I should say. I'm so used to basketball right now and hockey. We're in the flow of the middle of the flow of their seasons. But the umpire, when Bryce Harper goes from first to third base and they throw Bryce out at third, and of course that's air quotes because that's nonsense. What are you talking about? Oh, it hit his knee. No! Bryce slid in there. The passion of him running around the bases fuels me up. And there's no way in hell that he was called out. That's a joke. That's a bad call. But I digress. Hearing the fans boo, hearing the fans cheer, and we got a little taste of that in spring training. But the fact that it's Citizens Bank Park again, and we went through the nightmare of last year of these boring stadiums and they're pumping in crowd noise and yada, yada, yada. You got some legitimacy to it. You got some spark. You got some pure hatred out there. You got some pure love. You got the energy you were looking for. And that was only, 9,000 fans? I can't wait to hear 40-plus thousand again in that ballpark. The lineup. I got a little sidetracked there. The lineup. I liked it. I've settled into Reese at the 2. And I've said this a couple times now. I don't know if you checked into. So what I'm doing now is leading off with Brodes, which is Monday through Friday for Phillies games. So weekday games, Monday through Friday, 1 hour before the game. It's a pregame Philly show called Leading Off with Brodes. And I did that today for the first time. If you didn't catch it, you can find it on my YouTube channel as well, just to kind of get a taste of what it's going to be like. There's the batter's box, which is kind of topics, and we go through the batter's box, if you will, and we discuss the topics. But the lineup was topic number 1, and I've somewhat settled into Rhys Hoskins at the 2. And my philosophy behind it is, now you have Didi, even though he didn't have the best game there. He struck out a couple times. But now that you have JT Realmuto, Didi, Alec Boehm, Bryce Harper, I don't think you need Rhys Hoskins to be that number 4 home run bomb hitter nonstop, always like you did a couple years ago before getting JT, before getting Didi, before bringing in a special talent like Alec Boehm, who I can't wait to continue to see growing every single game. Every pitch, I want to watch him grow even more. He is so fascinating, and he's so intelligent. He's such a smart baseball player. It's crazy. But you don't need Rhys Hoskins to now be that lethal number 4 scary guy. He could be a solid producer in the 2-hole. As much as I hated how much he valued walks, he still was able to hit a lot of home runs a couple years ago before the 60-game season. So, yes, he walked a lot. He still gave you a pop in your bat. Do you need him to be that same role that we all anticipated him being 2 years ago? I will make the argument that you don't, because you have more power surrounding this lineup now where maybe there's less stress involved. Maybe that will help him out mentally as well, where he doesn't need to put as much stress on, hey, I got to hit homers, I got to hit homers, I got to hit homers. Maybe there's something to it, or maybe I'm being too optimistic, and who knows? Maybe 3 weeks into the season, I'm pulling my damn hair out thinking about Rhys Hoskins batting second. But for as of right now, I'm okay with it. And I wanted to bring up this lineup specifically because of the way that they wore down Fried. If you watched Fried's pitch count over and over and over again as the innings went on, the Phillies battled, and they would foul balls back, and they would take a lot of pitches, and it would be a smart approach, and the hitters would grind him down to the point where he had to get yanked out of the game somewhat early, and you would anticipate Fried going a little bit longer. Now, he did have some nice strikeouts in play, but if you just watch the way the Phillies hitters went into the batter's box and approached the pitch count and approached these counts and these at-bats, it played a role in the outcome of the game. You were able to make their starting pitcher work every inning. I got to throw a handful of pitches, way more than I would like to. At one point, it was like Fried was at 70-plus pitches and Aaron Nola was at 40. I mean, that was the difference in control, and that's what this lineup can do when they play the best of their ability. Prior to the Adam Hazley problem, though, the injury, he did have a hit against the lefty, and I love the fact that they put him out there because it shows that they wanted him to kind of get that opportunity to be that everyday guy if they're going to throw him up against a lefty, and he was able to get a nice hit out of it. So it was like, hey, there's something going for Adam Hazley. And before you know it, here's Roman Quinn in center field and coming up to take an at-bat that it's like, come on, really? But there's nothing we can do about an injury, of course, and I don't know to the level of severity. I did hear Joe Girardi speak after the game. Is this more of a product of, hey, it's game one, so let's not go too overboard, and let's make sure the longevity-wise we can put him back on the field sooner rather than late. Let's not push it kind of thing. We'll see, though. We'll see how much time he's going to be out for. And that philosophy of it's only game one applies to everyone. So I know I'm hard on Aaron Nola, and I know that I can be a little bit difficult with him because I set the bar very high for him. But this is what Aaron Nola is. I kept getting all these text messages and tweets. How dare Aaron Nola throw an 0-2 pitch like that? Well, that's what Aaron Nola does. Like, that is Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola makes mistakes. Aaron Nola allows other teams to get an opportunity. Sometimes that squad makes the most of it, and other times you get a little lucky and your team ends up sneaking away with it because of the circumstances. The Braves are a good baseball team, though, and they're going to make you pay. They have a deep lineup for a reason. Now, Freddie Freeman went 0 for 4. Acuna Jr. had a couple hits. But the game one applies to everyone. And I don't know if you saw this, but I guess it was the Indians broadcast, the Cleveland Indians broadcast, and they take callers after the game is over. I don't know if that was a post-game show specifically for their post-game Indian show. I don't know what it is, but they were taking callers. And this guy just went to town, freaking out. It's game one! You're an idiot! It's game one! And I'm laughing because I understand that mindset. It is true. My expectations for Aaron Nola was just give me 6, whether it's 6 1/3, 6 2/3. Just give me something like that, and I will be satisfied. Everyone needs to work out kinks. Everyone's now seeing live pitching in a different atmosphere. This is no longer spring training. You're seeing everyone's number one. You're seeing everyone's real bullpen getting at it, and they're raw too. They're dusty. Pitchers are going to make mistakes, just like hitters might have some ugly at-bats. Hazley, for the one hit that he did have, he really sure put together a putrid AB where he's swinging at things in the dirt, so it wasn't all gorgeous out of him. But it's like, okay, get a little bit of a sense of what's going on, see a little bit of something, but we can't come to conclusions. Because I was live streaming during this game. Since it was opening day, I figured, hey, I'll live stream the whole game. Let's hang out. I was in my man cave. We hung out. We chilled. So thank you if you were a part of that. And I would get comments like, this is the best top 6 hitters in baseball, and I don't know who can compete with this. And look, how many collapses have you seen in August and September when the team was barely hanging in there for a wild card spot, right? So as much as I'm excited about this season, as much as it was fun to watch some of these guys at the plate and bat, and JT Realmuto with an exit velocity of like 66 with a little squeaker, a little dinker down that right side of the field. As much as I was excited for it and all, come on, we're talking, it was inning 4. It was inning 4 when these comments were coming in. I would have liked to see this lineup maybe get a few more hits with runners in scoring position. There were a lot of traffic on the bases, and specifically early. Here's McCutchen early on free, just swinging the bat. Hey, I'm coming right after you. You're coming after me. I'll come right after you, too. McCutchen with a nice shot to get the things going a little bit, and then you had bases loaded for Alec Boehm, which I was really intrigued by. He pops out to left field, but that scores Andrew McCutchen, and I thought the broadcast said something really interesting there. Could have been a bit of a reach. I believe it was Ben Davis, and you know him. He's very Mr. Positive, so he always puts a positive spin on things. But he pretty much alluded to that tag up by Andrew McCutchen. Maybe you wouldn't have seen that in years past. Maybe that wasn't a play that you would see out of Kutch where, hey, you got to run out of it. In years past, you wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, that does seem a little bit of a Ben Davis positive spin, but at the same time, there is something to it, and it has been stressed by Joe Girardi pretty much all offseason long. Andrew McCutchen looks different. Andrew McCutchen feels different. There's a different eye test surrounding Kutch, and for that tag up, for him to feel so confident, and it wasn't a deep ball. It wasn't warning track power. It was middle of the pack left field, your standard left field fly out. So you could have easily been thrown out. It wasn't an automatic no-brainer, hey, if he's sent, he's going to score. So I thought that was big. You could have probably maybe knocked in a couple more runs throughout, but when you had that 2-0 lead and they blew it because of the Pablo home run, you just thought, oh, this is going to be a mess. And then you experience a little bit of a bumpy ride from the bullpen. All around, the bullpen did its job, but Alvarado gets in there. Archie Bradley went in there as well, and Connor Brogdon went in there, but I mentioned these plays that occurred defensively. The 10th inning play, you start with the man on second, which I hate. So it's different from a bullpen perspective. But with Neris and the Alvarado one, though, that was an emotional ride where you get people on base and it's an 0-2 count and he's trying to, throw a slider. The slider seems to hit the batter on an 0-2 count. What are you doing? What's going on with these 0-2 mistakes out of the pitchers tonight? Nola 0-2 mistake. Alvarado 0-2 mistake. But that's what Alvarado is. You are going to have to take the sweetness with the bad, because you're going to have some really hideous moments and you're going to have some high leverage situations because he put himself in that spot, because he's walking guys, because he's getting sloppy, because he's missing location, because of all that. And then he's also going to get a nasty strikeout or a really nice play to get a little bit of help or whatever the case may be to squeeze out of a jam. That's what the Alvarado experience is going to be. But think about it. Archie Bradley, Hector Neris, Alvarado, Connor Brogdon. Your bullpen was actually beneficial. And when you blow the lead, like this could have been, not that this would define a season by any means. It's almost like we got to retreat our bodies. Hey, this isn't 60 games. This isn't 60 games. 162. 162. It's like you have to remind yourself that and drill it into your brain, because it changes the dynamic on some of these conversations throughout a long window, throughout a long couple of months as we think about the season ending in September. It's April 1st, for God's sake. But if they were to blow it, knowing that last year was so bad, and knowing that last year was the second worst historic bullpen in Major League Baseball history, could have there been a really bad morale set, a really bad funk, a really bad stank, a really bad stench, like it just tastes so bad in everybody's mouths if you were to blow the first game of the season. And it wouldn't have technically been just because of the bullpen, because if that was the case, it would have been because Aaron Nola, your starter, got shelled in the 7th. And look, someone was talking to me during the chat as well that mentioned the fact that, like, yelling at Aaron Nola for what happened in the 7th. And he has to be better there, right? I mean, there's just no doubt about it that Aaron Nola needs to put together a better 0-2 pitch. It's an 0-2 pitch, dude, to a pinch hitter who's extremely large. All right? Pablo Sandoval. This isn't the Pablo Sandoval of the San Francisco Giants who was able to help out win some championships. This is a different version of Pablo. 0-2 pitch. I mean, clearly he could still square it up pretty heavily, because as soon as that ball made contact, everyone went wide-eye. Holy shit. That was something else. Talk about a bomb, right? But when we talk about what happened with Blake Snell and the World Series and the analytics and the third time through the lineup, and this would be different in theory because you're going up against a guy who was pinch hitting, so it does add a little bit more context to it. But my point is, when you get to the 7th, when you get to these areas, you're seeing the lineup so many times. There's a reason why Blake Snell was yanked. You might not like it. He was dealing on that night, but the Rays have this philosophy of let's look at the numbers. There is an extreme drop-off in the opposing team's batting average and your ERA when you get to a specific point in the lineup. That's the difference between aces and number one guys. Aces can continue to deliver and really grind through them. Aaron Nola sometimes runs into some trouble, sometimes not. Like, he showed you some of those nasty portions of his game. He gave you some really beautiful off-speed pitches. Really nice. Pinpoint accuracy, inside corner, outside corner. He gave you the good fastball. So there were some things that leave you optimistic. Well, not even optimistic. We know what Aaron Nola is. And I think that's another part of the equation where people think there's more and people think that there's like this next step. I feel at this point Aaron Nola kind of is what he is. And he's a really good pitcher. He's very successful in this league. You got a great chance to win every single time he's on that bump. But to expect more than what he has been in the last couple of seasons, and yes, he had the 1 year where he was in the finals. He was a finalist for the Cy Young, but he doesn't sniff Jacob deGrom's jockstrap. Not that many do. I mean, realistically, does anybody? So that's no knock on Nola, but this is what Nola is, and you're going to have to live with it. There's going to be some of these pitches that he wants to have back, and I go back to Dansby Swanson could have had one. Freddie Freeman could have had one. Easily could have been a 3-home run night if there wasn't any wind in play. And same with Bryce Harper, though. Bryce Harper had an opposite field homer that was going the other way with ease, and that would have been a shot if there wasn't the wind. So the same could be said about Fried. It definitely goes both ways, but I thought it happened more with Atlanta than it did with the Phillies. At the end of the day, though, I don't care, right? At the end of the day, they came out victorious, and they start the season 1-0. Braves, Mets, Braves, Mets. I've been saying it over the last week 6,000 times, whether it's on Coffee with Brodes, whether it's on a podcast, wherever, 97.5 The Fanatic, wherever I'm on the airwaves, wherever I'm speaking, I'm screaming Braves, Mets for a reason. You got to start out hot. This division is going to be intense. This division is going to be a back and forth level of haymakers. Be prepared for it. Get yourself on the right foot. Get a victory early. Win series early. You're going to have to do that. And they put themselves in a good position here to snag the first series as we wait for Saturday. One thing that's kind of going unnoticed with JT Realmuto is that last at-bat, which resulted in Jean Segura being able to knock in Bryce Harper, 2-strike AB, able to just put together a professional at-bat, and he pokes it away, which allows Bryce Harper to get to third, but with 2 strikes. That's something that we always give credit to Alec Boehm for. It doesn't matter what the count is, what the situation is. The kid just understands the game, and he properly takes what's given to him. He doesn't try and do too much. He's not too messed up emotionally and physically upstairs in the brain at the plate. He's cool, calm, and collected. And JT Realmuto, 2 strikes, big spot, big time. Bryce Harper, got to get him over, get it out, whatever, recording out, get him over to third base to put your team in the best position. And what do you know? JT did it. So JT with the RBI earlier in the game to make it 2-0, and JT with the crucial at-bat, which allowed Bryce Harper to even get to third base, which eventually resulted in the Jean Segura how do you do, and you see him running around the bases. And I'm interested to see what Jean Segura is this year. Prior to coming to Philadelphia, 300. I mean, he was hitting 300 3 years in a row. He came to Philly and went 280 on us. I could live with that 280. When he was batting second, that year Kutch got hurt and all, 280, he was a nice player for you. Constantly 2 hits every night, it felt. If he's your 7-hitter, if Jean Segura's your 7-hitter, getting back on track, more of a 280 kind of guy, more so than a 266, 265 type of guy like he was last year, talk about the depth with this team. Where do you find that hole? At the 8 spot when it's Roman Quinn? When it's Adam Hazley? That's about it. 1 through 8, good luck. Unfortunately, we don't have the best 8-hole hitter in baseball still. Oh, Michael Franco, remember those days? Oh, man, talk about a journey that season was. The best 8-hole hitter in baseball. Unbelievable. Why don't now, though, I tell you about my friends over at DraftKings. March Madness has been insane, and there's so many great odds boosts and promotions going on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. The Final Four is set. That's where we begin. And you can bet 100-1 odds on any college basketball team to win. And if you win, if you bet $1, you win $100. It's that simple. And if basketball is not your thing, do not forget about baseball that's now in play, golf that's now in play, hockey, which I hate the Flyers, but there's still plenty of great hockey games out there. Pro basketball, the NBA, nonstop action every single night. So there are so many odds and promotion boosts out there for you. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRODES when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if the college basketball team of your choosing pulls off the win. That's code BRODES. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, why don't we get to the Anytime Hotline? I'm looking to see if there's anything else I wanted to kind of bring up here in my notes before we do that. Oh, yeah, Will Smith in the ninth, man. Did he mow down the Phillies' top of the lineup? You had a good opportunity. Top of the order, McCutchen, Reese, Bryce, and Will Smith was just bang, 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 smooth as a baby's bottom. It was a great delivery. Baseball fan standpoint, wow, amazing to watch. Actually, pretty damn entertaining. I didn't want to see it because I wanted to see the Phillies succeed. I'm talking just from if you sit back and enjoy pitching for a second, sit back and enjoy circumstantial baseball and understanding the situational baseball, I should say. Damn, Will Smith went up there and boom, boom, boom. Chucked it with ease, got what he wanted. Had Bryce Harper looking foolish with some swings, chasing some things outside and all. Damn. And I didn't feel good then because it's like, hey, here you go. Here's that chance. Top of the lineup, ninth inning, just put him away. Make a statement. Say, screw you. All right, we're coming for you. Screw you. But it was the bottom of the lineup, ironically enough. Jean Segura. All right, let's kick this bad boy off with the Anytime Hotline. Here we go.
Boy, do I love Ricky Bo on a nice post-game win. Wow, what a way to start the season I thought it was. I thought hit the ball pretty well in the beginning of the game. We just couldn't find that one or two hits that brought a couple home and really got the game open. Nola I thought was pretty good for the most part. He left a couple pitches a little middle in. You can't do that versus the Braves, especially the one to Pablo Sandoval. I mean, that's just inexcusable right there. But other than that, I think he kept him in the game. I think he did great. And I mean, the bullpen, I feel like everyone did pretty well. Alvarado was the only one that gave me a little bit of nervousness, but
he's going to give you nervousness. I'll be honest with you. He's constantly going to give you nervousness. That's who he is. That's why the Rays made the decision that they did. Look, the guy pumps 100. The guy is mean. The guy's got velocity. The guy's got it. There's a reason why, when it comes to that area of it, which is 1/3, the other is location, the other is the mental side of the game, so that's 1/3 of it. There's a reason why a team like the Tampa Bay Rays elected to go in another position, elected to try something else out in that bullpen with Alvarado, and there's a reason why he was available. But, yeah, that is common ground. Going back to Nola, he was missing some pitches. He was missing certain areas, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm here bashing Aaron Nola. I really do enjoy Aaron Nola, and when he's on the mound, there's a different vibe. Zach Wheeler, I get the same similar feeling inside of me where it's, all right, it raises a little bit. And with Zach Eflin, I'm so damn fascinated with who he's going to become. Is he going to make a name for himself? This is the possible big step for Zach Eflin. What's it going to be? How's it going to look? How's he going to utilize the sinker, What's the fastball going to look like high up in the zone? Did you see the movement on some of those pitches that were going around the Twitter sphere during his last spring training? I mean, that movement on the fastball, it was unbelievable the way it curved back on the outer part of the plate, inner part of the plate, depending on who was up to bat. It was crazy. While all that is true, like Wheeler and Eflin, and I mean, I'm a baseball junkie anyway. I'm going to be excited for Chase Anderson and Matt Moore like a doofus. The only guys I'm not going to be pumped up about is Vince Velasquez. Aaron Nola, when he's on the mound, I get a different feeling. I'm so pumped up to see what Aaron Nola we're going to get that night. But I think both can be true. You can find that middle ground of there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be errors. He is a tick below legitimate stud. But he's got nasty ability. And guys swing and miss. And he confuses the hell out of hitters. But sometimes he's going to give you that costly one. It's not too long ago, following a really good campaign of being in the conversation about the Cy Young, he's allowing bombs, he's getting crushed, the ballpark was leaving the ball was leaving the ballpark at will. There's a reason why that is. But I hate that I have to bring that up, and it makes it like, oh, you're some Aaron Nola hater. No, I'm not. and this just triggered my brain. I was hearing a little bit from the Atlanta Braves broadcast, and if I heard them correctly, Fried only allowed 2 homers last year. Wow. It's pretty damn impressive.
Opening day lived up to the hype. That was fun, man. It was just good to see him back on the mound. And hey, the Phillies got the dub walk-off. Shout out to Jean Segura. A few quick things. First of all, Jose Alvarado feels like he's going to be kind of like Dwight Howard. He's either going to be really good or he's going to be really bad. That was a wild ride. Nola, I personally thought he was going to be taken out after the 6th. And yeah, that was a bad decision to pitch to Sandoval, my guy. Even though I like him, hated to see him hit that. Yeah, that was bad. And then, other than that, though, the bats, they left a lot of runners on base. But what a throw by Roman Quinn to beat out, I forget who it was stealing. That was the Albies. Just a fun game in general.
It was a fun game in general. Here's what I'll take out of the positives of, which is crazy because it's a negative thing. You left so many runners on, and who knows, maybe 10 series into the season, we recognize that this is a common theme. But since it's game 1, I'll take that optimistic approach. Let's just look at it with this mindset. They're getting guys in scoring position. They're getting guys on base. They're working the pitcher. They're grinding the pitchers down. They're rising their pitch count and making them throw a ton of pitches and extremely making them work. And the more and more you do that, the more chances you get to knock guys in. Most likely you're going to do it. These hitters are raw. These hitters are stepping up for their first game. Once they get into a flow, once they get into a rhythm, if they're constantly still getting on base and they're constantly still being in areas where they're in scoring position, all right, well, then maybe they start executing a little bit better, and instead of 1-0, it's 3-0 early. It's 2-0 early. It's 4-0 early. And they tack on those runs that it crushes the other team mentally of, damn, it's already 5-0, it's the 3rd inning. It's already 3-0, it's the 1st inning. Maybe it's like you start defeating them a bit, and once you start defeating teams so early on, first couple innings, you get those chances, you put them away, and that could be the difference because of the mental side of it all. So I'll look at it positively. You had chances. That means you're doing great things. You're getting you in that area for a reason. You're doing something right to get on base. Continue to do that, and I'm sure you'll continue to drive in runs.
Whew. It's only opening day, and I think I'm already on a 2 Maylocks moment, but what a big win for the Phils. I know it's, again, opening day, but I think it would have been devastating to lose a game like that. Nola's breezing along, and as he inexplicably does so many times, 1 or 2 bad pitches end up costing him wins. The offense was pure manure today for the most part, but give Jean Segura credit at the end. And give Connor Brogdon some credit quietly. The kid comes in there, has a man on second base, and has to go through Freeman and Ozuna, and did it with help from Roman Quinn.
Yeah, it's a great point. I did mention Connor Brogdon, and he was definitely big. And I'm curious, what's his role going to be? I want to see the way that they adapt him and mold him into this team, the identity of this squad. What is Connor Brogdon going to be? What's his role? Where is he going to be utilized? Late innings, late games? When is he going to get his number called, and how does he execute? He actually had to go down before and then get back up into the majors, and he became a different pitcher when that all happened. I want to see him grow as a pitcher, and I want to see the way that Joe Girardi is going to rely on him. And clearly, he's in a high-leverage situation right from the jump. Hey, kid, have at it. Hey, kid, go on that mound. We trust in you. And it stepped up for sure. He did have help, but it's so hard to judge some of these bullpen players when there's already someone on second base. It's somewhat unfair. It's somewhat a little annoying. I can't stand it. I really do hate it. I'll go back to the manure of the offense. While it might have not have been the sexiest night, and maybe the wind had a lot to do with that and the way that the weather was in this game and all, but I don't know if it was full-on manure. Like, they might have not have got the full-on production that you were looking for, but I feel you're devaluing what they did to Fried, and you're devaluing what they did to get into this bullpen. And keep in mind, although there is an off day tomorrow, it does change some things. Because I was going to say, if you look at the series, Game 1 can heavily impact Game 2, can heavily impact Game 3 when it comes to, okay, you got Fried, their number one guy, out early in the game, where then they had to go to their bullpen. They had to utilize some of their arms. And how does that relate to what happens in Game 2 now in a big situation What if you can't go to a certain player, go to this guy? I'm just thinking long-term game 3. Like, let's say game 3 is a different scenario because in the first 2 games they had to use guys, and then it opens up the door for a different bullpen piece that gets shelled and not ready for the moment. I'm just hypothetically speaking, but to say the offense was manure, I'm looking at it as I think they did the little things that don't pop on the box score and isn't necessarily like wide open. Hey, you noticed this right from the jump. Hey, this is a no-brainer, noticeable thing that happens just from looking at stats afterwards. But you can, if you look at Fried's point of view, if you look at the way that they were used, it tells the story a bit. I wouldn't go as far as manure is my point. Would I like it to have been better? Yeah, I would have liked it to have been better when guys were when runners were in scoring position, when guys were in position. But full-on manure, a little strong.
Phillies got the win. 3-2 in 10 innings. I was a little scared, but thank you, Jean Segura, for getting it done. What a way to start off the season. Let's go, Phillies. Ring the bell. Whoa!
I feel that same energy, dude. I think that's a great way to actually end this with that type of passion, with that type of voice, with that type of excitement. I'm so pissed they don't play tomorrow. I'm so pissed they don't play tomorrow. Jean Segura, though. Jean Segura. Jean the RBI machine, they say. Right now, it's like optimistic mode. Well, maybe this means that, and maybe this means this, and maybe this can tell you what this is going to do. I don't know. Are we possibly looking at maybe something that could spark Jean Segura to have a nice little run, a nice little ride? If he starts himself on the right foot, how big is that for his brain, right? Because there's been really hideous Jean Segura moments. There's been bad stretches. There's been some ugly stuff going on with him. If he starts out with a walk-off, if he starts out getting the boys going early on the board, and a main reason why you start the season out 1-0, maybe you get a little out. Maybe you get that 300 Jean Segura type vibe for the first month of the season. Who knows what that can snowball into. But look, the same. We can have a 0-for-3 Jean Segura game on Saturday, and you go, well, all that for nothing. But damn it, that's what you're supposed to do after game 1. Be way too optimistic. Be way too excited. Take it to an extreme. Get all emotional and think that you can apply this to these players for the rest of the season. That's what you're supposed to do. That is the job. So thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.